Good afternoon and Happy New Year. I'm Elle. This is my channel, The Keystone Stitcher, and we're starting off. This is 2024. How was your Christmas? I hope it was a good one. We had a nice quiet day. My son and his family came over. We had dinner, exchanged gifts, played some games. They later went home and I curled up and stitched. It was a beautiful sunny, well, it wasn't sunny. It had moments of sun, but it was almost 60 degrees. Today's New Year's, and today we're getting snow. So it's a little late, but we got a little bit of snow. Okay, I was going to do this in two videos today. I was going to do a recap of December, and then I was going to do everything else in a second video. Something happened in my videos. I had to record it again, so now that I saw just how long it would have been, it wasn't going to be that long. I'm going to do it all as one video. So let's start with everything that I did from December 15th through the end of the month. As you may know, I did Flossmas. I worked on a Christmas piece, and then I spun a wheel to see how I would like using a decision wheel. And I let it pick any of my whips, and I worked on that the rest of the day. So we're going to go through what those were. So on the 15th, we're not going to do this in order because I didn't put it according to date. Okay, so one of the days after the 15th, it spun Four Seasons. This is what Four Seasons will look like. I purchased this. Sorry, we just had a whole mess of birds just dive bomb past my window. I purchased this from the Soda Stitch shop on Etsy. It's no longer available. I believe it's out of print. This is where I am. I believe the first part of the month I finished this off. And then I came up and I finished this tree in the second part of December, started that roof and a little bit of this building. So that's the section I worked on. I'm now at 40.04%. So we're getting there. I started this in 2019. So this one is my oldest, and this definitely needs lots of love this year. Okay, let me set that one aside. The next one that I worked on for one day was my long dog. This is Resistance is Futile. And this is where I got to. So once I got to this block, it was on 4 different pages. And so I decided that I needed to just see if I could get this in Pattern Keeper. I did. The vertical lines are fine, but the horizontal lines, it skips a line. I don't know why it does that when it imports it. So I've just been opening my phone up when I get to the page break and checking through Dropbox where I am. But it made this a lot easier to stitch than having to go back and forth between two pages. So this is on a 20 count Aquarius by Color and Cotton. And I'm stitching with a special edition floss by HandDyedByRolanda. And you can see the details there. So this one is now at 34.27%. I just came down a little bit and started this just to see where the next band would end. So that's my long dog. After that, I worked on, or at some point after that, I worked on Masquerade. This is artwork by Christopher Lovell, and it is charted by, I just stabbed myself with a needle, charted by UnconventionalXStitch. I started this first doing the background, and then I decided to remove the background. That's actually harder than it sounds. So trying to figure out which stitches I still need to keep the border around that moon and which ones I can delete take a little bit. I'm now at 5.31%, and all I really did is fill in the moon. So that's what I worked on that part of the month. I also pulled out, it got called Pokémon. And this is Pokémon. This is what it will look like. And I had the top of the E and the MON pretty much in. And so I finished the bottom of the E and worked my way over towards the P. Now there's two letters in the MON, two colors in the MON, and there's one color in the rest of it. This has anywhere from 5 to 8 colors of blue for the border of those letters, so I still have a ways to go. And Pokémon is now at, did I tell you 5.31%? That one does work in pattern keeper, and it's by BixoStitch, B-I-X-O, on Etsy. And the fabric is one that I dyed myself. Okay, so the next one that got called, well, these next couple, they were called during Flossmas, but I also worked on them after Flossmas. So the first one is by Weaver's Tapestry. This you can get as a free design from magicalquilts.blogspot.com. I'm stitching this on an 18 count Skopelos by TheSewingShop.ca. And that, look at the fabric. I wish I could get this here, but there's other blotches. I have a blotch right here. I just love the colors. So I had finished, let's see, all of this and the centerpiece. And then I'd come over here and work the border. I don't think I had the border done, but I finished the border, finished the animals after Christmas, and then did this top border in here. So that's where that is. I'm stitching this as a Sal with Anna, who's on Instagram as Anna Stitches Autumn. And I gotta check with her, see how far she's getting on this. Okay, so the next one is Beetle Pop. And this one my wheel loved. It was, once the wheel found it, it just kept spinning it. And I think it was called 4 times. So after Christmas, I decided to keep going and to color complete 2 colors. So I added about 2,600 stitches after Christmas. And let's see if I can get it all in. There we go. There it is. So I did all the black, and then from her chin down her neck is $37.99. So all the outlining is done, and now all I have to do is fill it in. And the last thing I will fill in is Beetlejuice. So most of this up here was all done. I ran out of this color. It's on its way to me. It should be here in a couple of days, and then I can fill that in. So there. The fabric is an 18 count that I dyed myself. I purchased this, the company is DesignWorks, and I wouldn't recommend it. There are plenty of places where the threads are actually broken. This is an Aida. So Aida has 4 strands. Let's see if I put this. So you have 4 strands that are woven with 4 strands, and that's what makes it. So not all of it is broken, but one of those 4 strands is broken in several places. And I'm having to either clip them or stitch over them. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend. It's okay to stitch on, and it's not a bad hand feel. It did shrink a lot in the dyeing process, but that can happen with almost any fabric. It happened more so with this than with Zweigart. So it kind of closed up the holes a little bit. But that's my Beetle Pop. Okay, so after Beetle Pop, the other one that I worked on both during Flossmas, it didn't get called. No, it did get called one day, but I don't remember which part of the month it got called in. But I was using this for football stitching. So this is getting so big I need a board now, or you can't see it all. So this is Strength. The artwork is by Nickley Paint. Oh, you know what I didn't tell you? Beetle Pop. The artwork is by LuxNovaStudios and is charted by UnconventionalXStitch. Strength, the artwork is by Nickley Paint and is charted by, I got this board crooked, sorry. It's charted by UnconventionalXStitch, and it's gorgeous. I absolutely love this piece. So I did a little bit of her head wrap when it was called on my wheel, and the rest of the time I worked in color completing the black in the background. So I am now down to, I've started the 5th row of pages in the background. So at one point I worked on this section here during Flossmas, and the rest of it was all that black. So all this over here. So let's see if I can get a picture in of where that black was before. Hopefully I have a picture there. That just looked really silly, didn't it? So that was those were the whips that I worked on. And then I started a new start. Yeah, I had a new start. This is Feeding Frenzy. This was gifted to me by a friend and fellow Flosstuber. I didn't ask her if I could tell you her name, so we just won't. I started this on a piece of 18 count jade by Picture This Plus, and I don't like it. These colors are just blending in way too much. If I bring it in, you can kind of see it. And I'm thinking, when that's up on the wall, even with backstitch, I'm not going to like it. So I need your help. So let me see if I have a board here that I can get a board. I have too much stuff here. You should see the piles I have here. It's crazy. Okay, so I've picked 3 different fabrics. And I don't know if I can, let me see if I can put them all on the board. I didn't try this before I decided to turn the camera on, so I don't know how this is going to work. Okay, so I have 2 pieces I dyed myself, and then a piece that I've bought from Color and Cotton. Okay, these are the 3 colors. This is teal that I did myself. This is the blue I did, and this is a piece of the Aquarius. And my concern was the blues. So let's see if I can show you which blue it was that had me concerned. I think, it was this one right here. Guys, how do you use floss drops? This is crazy. Okay, so this is the blue that I'm worried about showing up. Bear with me, Okay, so this strand right here. So you can kind of see it there. I'm almost thinking that it shows up best on the Aquarius. So if I take it over there, well, maybe not. So do I use one of these colors? Now all the other colors work on each of the fabrics. It's just that really light blue that I just don't know. So this strand right here. So do I try one of these fabrics to restart it, or do I dye a new piece? You tell me what you would do. Anyway, I got frustrated because I was looking forward to starting that. So I started something else last night because I couldn't make up my mind on fabric. This is Friendship Quilts by Paula Vaughn. This can be found as a leaflet. It's still available on Amazon, and there's some sellers that sell it new on eBay. You can also pick it up used. Now, the funny thing is the leaflet originally sold for $4. It's now selling for about $15 new. You can also find it in the book, which one? The Best of Paula Vaughn, Book 2. So this is what I have. So all I did was I started with the building, the house there. This is the bottom of the first page. This is a 4-page design. I'm stitching this on 18 count that I dyed myself. So you can see the fabric there. I may have a little bit of problem because the floor of the porch is not stitched. So I may have to actually stitch it in because I'm using the hand-dyed fabric. But once I get to the floor of the porch, I'll decide what I think. Okay, and so then I had one other project I worked on in December, but that project will take us into our finishes for the year. So let me readjust this, move things around, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm not real organized. I have a notebook with a list of all my finishes for the year. So we're going to try to follow that and see if I can sort out this mess here. I still have a little bit of a mess over there because I might need that stuff later. Okay, let's start. I had planned 4 full coverage pieces to finish, plus the 2 small ornaments I do for my grandchildren every year. So my plan was to have 6 finishes in 2023. I ended up with 17. Yeah, 17. Okay, so you ready? The first one, I'll try not to make this too long. This is my colorful sampler by Happy Mood Point. This is stitched on 16 count ice by To Die For fabrics that I purchased from their Etsy shop. I changed most of the colors. I think, if I remember correctly, there's 3 colors in here that were original. 2 of the colors that they called for did not work on this fabric. You couldn't see it, whether on camera or in person. It really didn't show up. And I thought they kind of clashed. When I got up to this area, I loved how these colors played. So I ripped out the colors I didn't like. There were supposed to be 8 colors. In the end, I used 6. So I think I kept 4 of their colors and I added 2 of my own. So that's where that is. This is the only one. I had a lot of fun stitching this, but this is pretty much the only piece that I'm not really sure what to do with now. So it just kind of at the moment sits in a drawer until I figure it out. But that one, I would recommend her charts. They're fun to work on, and she does a really good job charting. So that was my first finish. My next finish was Mini You Can Leave Your Hat On. The artwork was by Sandra Santara, and it was charted by Heaven Earth Designs. This is where it was last January. Okay, well, here's where Happy Mood, where my colorful sampler was last January. So you can see I was close. All right, so this is where this was last January. This is where I got to in March. I was at 80-some%, 81, 82%, I don't remember. And I hated it. The body looked so cartoonish. It wasn't even what I would call pixelated. It was just cartoonish. So I cut it off, wrapped it around a canvas, and I just stapled it onto the canvas. And I saved what I could. So that's You Can Leave Your Hat On. I was devastated. I swear I was close to crying. But I'm over it now, and I like him the way he is. So all is well that ends well. Okay, the next one was Fantail Bird. This was a start. Oh, dates. Let me tell you dates. So Colorful Sampler was started on May 12th of 2022 and finished March 9th of 2023. Mini You Can Leave Your Hat On. I actually restarted this because I tried to stitch it on 25 count and my eyes couldn't do it. So I restarted it February 15th of 2021 and I finished it March 10th of 2023. Fantail Bird, I started May 6th. No, I didn't. I started April 17th and I finished it May 6th. This is on an 18 count. I didn't take this off my wall, but so this is what it looks like. I did this on 18 count white fabric, and this is by Whoopie Cat on Etsy. And they've got a lot of really cool designs, a lot of variety, but they do have several of these tiles. The next one was a gift from my granddaughter. This is Mulan. She asked me to turn this into a pillow. So here's what it looked like last January. I had started on 12/30/2021 and I finished it May 21st, 2023. And I think I still have it. So here's what it looks like as a pillow. Okay, the next one is Spider. I started and finished this on July 22nd of 2023. This is from the Just Cross Stitch Halloween edition from 2022. This is just a beige, tan, khaki, Aida. I don't know, it was a scrap I had. So there was another part to this design. I think it said spooky, and then this was supposed to hang from it, but all I really wanted was the spider. And on the same day, I started and finished Boo Watch. Can't read my own handwriting. This is from the Just Cross Stitch Halloween edition 2023. And there was more to this design. I think the trunk of the tree, the roots came out further, and I don't remember what else was there, but this was all that I wanted. So I started that, like I said, on the 22nd and finished on the 22nd. And this one is a piece of Picture This Plus. Might be jade, I don't know. It was a scrap. I cut off and save all the little scraps, so if I want to do an ornament, I have it, but I don't keep the tags. Okay, the next one was European City. This is where it was last January. I was doing this for a friend of mine. This is from an Etsy shop called Povitrilia Handmade. I stitched it on an 18 count fabric that I dyed myself. I started it in May of 2022 and I finished it July 23rd, 2023. I finished this into a large book sleeve so my friend can carry her journal or a book or whatever she wants to carry in it. But I figure once we get to a certain age, gifting somebody something that goes on their wall, really not fair. You probably have enough. So I didn't want to gift her something for her wall, and I turned it into something useful. Okay, my next finish was the largest finish that I've completed to date. Hopefully it won't stay that way. This is Alice in Snow White. This is the artwork is by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. And I'm going to put some pictures in here. One is my granddaughter holding it, and then I'll put one where I just where I had it laced, and then I'll put the one in of it in the frame. I did this on a 16 count platinum by Zweigart. And no, I could have done on something smaller. There was just not a large piece of Aida available. That was when stores were still having trouble after COVID getting fabrics in. I finished this on 8/20/2023, and I had promised her that was going. I set myself a date. This will be done before you start school in September, and I made it. I gave it to her on Friday, and she started school on Monday, so we came really close. Okay, the next one is Christmas Squirtle. This is a Pokemon design, if you're not familiar with it. The Etsy shop is So Geeky. Yeah, So Geeky UK. I stitched this on 18 count sterling by Picture This Plus. I started and finished it August 24th, 2023, and it was gifted to my grandson for Christmas this year. I gift the kids their ornaments on Thanksgiving because that's when they put the tree up. And because he got his, my granddaughter's was a Christmas bunny. She picked hers out. This is by FlosStube on Etsy. It's on a 16 count stellar by Picture This Plus. I started on August 28th, 2023 and finished on August 29th, 2023. Okay, the next one is October by Paula Vaughn. This is from the book A Quilt for All Seasons. And gotta get the glare of the window. And I did this on an 18 count Picture This Plus. I don't think I wrote down my start date. I started this in 2020, I believe. But here's where it was last January. And now we're done. I actually finished this on October 6th, 2023. So October, the quilt is called October. I finished it in October. Okay, so the next one was Mary. Hold please, I don't know where that is. Okay, I'll have to put a picture in. I had it and I showed it when I recorded the first time. Don't know where it is. This is from the Just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornament Edition. I don't remember which year. It was either this year or last year. I stitched it on 18 count Barnwood by Picture This Plus. I started and finished it September 3rd, 2023. The next one is Reindeer Feed Sack. This is by Carriage House Samplings. I stitched this on 18 count Haunted by Picture This Plus. Let me put this on a board, it'd be easier. If I could find anything. Okay, here we go. I simply this year, in order to be able to have it on display, I wrapped it around my October quilt by Paula Vaughn and stuck this in a frame. So I started this on September 21st, 2023, and I finished it October 26th, 2023. And there we go. I made a couple mistakes in there, but no big deal. So the red that was up here and used in the deer, so everything to here is the red it was called for. And I thought I was a smart aleck. I thought it only called for 2 colors. I knew which color that was. And when I pulled the color out and stitched with it, this whole bottom half from here down is a different red. So I think the white, whatever. So anyway, I messed it up. I don't care. Only you and I now know. No, it wasn't the red. It was the white. Okay. So that is 38.65 and that's B52. That's what I did. It wasn't the red. So it was the white that was different. I knew I did something different. Okay, so that was Feed Sack. Next was, excuse me while I turn the page, Christmas Truck. This is by Demented Stitchers on Etsy. It's on a 16 count Aida that I dyed myself. I started this November 3rd, 2023, and I finished it November 24th. And this, I just put a piece of felt on the back, used a ribbon, and I just hung this from my apartment door instead of a wreath. So, yeah, really, really liked how that turned out. Okay, the next one is Old Saint Nick. This is from the Just Cross Stitch magazine 2023, December of 2023. It was not an ornament edition. And I started this on, I finished this Thanksgiving night or the day after Thanksgiving. And then it was called for December 5th on my wheel. And so I finished it, and so it took 2 days. This is by Fawny Ritter Designs. And this is not a Picture This Plus, but I don't know what the actual name is. Next was a small piece called Minecraft. This is by Arcade Stitches on Etsy. My grandson was giving me tips and telling me that I needed to stitch more popular things, and then I could get a play button on Etsy or on YouTube. Because to him, that's the goal. If you're going to be on YouTube, you should want a play button. Guys, I don't care. But I thought to show him that I appreciated his advice in telling me how to get more views and more subscribers, that I would stitch him something. So I started and finished this October 30th, 2023. I stitched on a piece of white Zweigart, just regular Aida. I did take this out of the frame and iron it, but that was what it was. And when I gifted it to him and I told him that was to thank him for teaching me how to be better on YouTube, he just broke into the biggest grin ever. My son was standing here, his dad, and just started laughing. So that was his. And then we have one last piece, and that was the piece that I worked on all the way through Flossmas. I started this September, I just lost my page. Here we go. I started September 18th, 2023. I did the framework, I did the trees at the top and the Merry Christmas at the bottom. And then during Flossmas, I stitched one animal a month. And I'll bring this in. I was so happy with this until I got to the last row, and I just thought she didn't do a good job. The animals look too similar on the bottom. And I decided then to personalize it, and I changed this last day, so on the 24th, with my granddaughter's favorite animal, which is a flamingo. And then the flamingo is holding a streamer of letters that spells out her name. So those are my finishes for 2023. So now I'm going to pause and move this all around, and I'll be back to show you kind of what I'm planning for 2024 and how I think I'm going to do it. This may change, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, just to follow up, I found Mary. So here's Mary. I stitched this in one day. This is from the Just Cross Stitch Christmas magazine, the ornament edition. I stained a hoop, and then I just added some felt on the back. I knew I had it here. Okay, so plans. I've talked before, I don't schedule my daily life. I like to be very spontaneous. I like to just pick up and go whenever the mood hits. But when it comes to my stitching, because I stitch for finishes, I feel that I can't get anything done unless I have a plan. And because there's so much out there I want to stitch, so much I own, so much I want to buy. Speaking of which, I have purchases. We'll have to talk about that later. So, because there's a lot that I want, I have to have a plan. And I have to really push myself. No, not push myself. I have to challenge myself. Because if my goals are too low, then I can just slough off and never do it, right? So I always try to have at least one more project than I can accomplish to finish. So let's say I have 5. I know I'll do 4, but I'm hoping for 5. This year I have several different ways of reaching goals. And one of the things I've done is I've set up some goals that will take me into next year and set me up for finishes in 2025. I'm calling that my 24 and 24. So there was one evening I was stitching and I happened to look down at Pattern Keeper and I saw the percentage on the project and I thought, 24% in 2024. And that got me thinking. Now I don't have any that I can easily attain 24% because the stitch count is just so high to get to that point. You know, when you have projects that are 270,000 stitches, it takes a lot to get to that point. So what I've done is I've decided to do an additional 24% on 3 projects. Now I went through all of my projects that I have that are in Pattern Keeper that I can easily see the percentage and decided which ones were feasible and which ones just were not attainable at all. So I have 3 and I'm going to show you those 3. The first one is my long dog. So this is Resistance is Futile. And I would need 15,984 stitches to complete an additional 24%. That would bring me to 58.27%, which is just over halfway, and then I can finish this in 2025. So that's number 1. Number 2 is a little different, and 2 is A Promise of Tomorrow. Now this one here, this is the entire width of the top page. A Promise of Tomorrow, I would need 21,855 stitches to reach an additional 24%. But this is that 5th project, I think it's 5th, that in my case, if I can get to it, if I get everything else done, this is the one because it's not that big. It's 3 pages across and 4 pages down. This is one that would be nice to finish this year. And if not, it will be close to a finish next year. So this one here, since we didn't talk about this, the artwork is by Shauna Urbeck and is charted by Thread Geeks. And I'm stitching this on a 20 count even weave. So that's A Promise of Tomorrow. Okay, the next one, and this is the biggest challenge. This is Strength, and we've talked about this. So I've been kind of working all over the place. So this one, I have completed 44,000 stitches this year. In addition to all those finishes, I was able to start this in March and get 44,000 stitches. I would need 48,000 stitches to do an additional 24%. But if I do that, I'm set up to have a finish in 2025. And I'm thinking probably late summer, early fall of 2025, this could be finished. So that would be, those are my 3 projects that I would like to, let me set this over here. I would like to finish, or I would like to get an additional 24% on. Okay, so now we have the finishes. So the projects that I want to finish this year, the first one is my Weaver's Tapestry, my band sampler. And I don't know what percentage I am on this, but this is one that I want to finish this year. It works up so easily. What I do, I keep this in Zoto. It doesn't work in Pattern Keeper. And I open, like this block right here was, I think, 6 different releases. And so I open those 6 tabs and then I can just go across the tabs as I move around and finish the block. So, and then this was kind of split on 2, but it showed this line. So once I had this done, I only needed the one tab for it. So yeah, I just switch back and forth between the tabs, works up quickly. It's just one color. So that's my first one that I want to finish, truly want to finish. Okay, the next one that I want to finish, all right, let me take this off. Hold please, I need to reorganize. Okay, sorry about that, everything was trying to fall. Okay, the next one that I want to finish is Pokémon. So this is for my grandson, and Yeah, this one's big, but it only has 63,000 stitches left. So I can get this done. I want to give this to him for Christmas. So that would be the next one. The next one is Stone Expressions. And this one I know I want to finish. This is by Stitching Moon Designs. The artwork is by Giuseppe Maccone. He's an Italian artist that lives in Norway that Megan knows. And he gave her permission to chart some of his pieces. She has one more that she's charted by him that I'd like to stitch. And I found another one of his that I'm going to be asking her. She told me just let her know which one and she'll ask him. So I have one more that I want her to chart for me of his work. So I need to finish this if I want to start another one, because I try not to have more than one piece by any artist at any given time. So this is Stone Expression, and Peggy just did an amazing job charting. I love it. So that's the next one. And then almost the end is my oldest one. This is 4 Seasons that I bought through SewStitch. I started this in 2019, so yeah, I need to get this done. And I kept the wall. There's a wall in my living room that my couch sits in front of, and I kept that wall blank. There's no artwork there because I want this on it. So yeah, I'm tired of seeing a blank wall. It's time to finish this. And then I have one final plan. And that, whoops, I almost knocked you over. I told you I'm a mess today. I am so sorry. I was watching Jamie. Her channel is Crafty Gaming Jamie. And she was showing this gorgeous Maxine Gadd piece. It's called Autumn Harmony. And she was getting so much progress on it. Every time she showed it, there was this huge amount done. And then she made the comment that she is stitching 200 stitches a day. And I went, what? Wait, what? So I thought, okay, let's see. And I kind of calculated in my head and went, that's more than 70,000 stitches in a year. So I thought, okay, if I do 200 stitches a day on this beaut, she only has 48,000 left, she and he, whatever, that I could finish this. So I would only need to work on this for 227 days and I could finish Beetlejuice. And I've already decided where this is getting hung. So, and you may be asking, how the hell do you think you can do all that? So I've done a couple mock-ups of calendars. I've done 2. So to show you that I do have flexibility built in. And I'm going to put the first one up here now. Now I'm going to be looking down so I don't confuse myself on what is what. Okay, so this is January. Now if you look at Sunday, you can see it's all gray. That's when I will work on strength because I need 48,000 stitches, so that needs to be worked on. If you see the green, that's Stone Expression because I need the most stitches on that. That has the most left to do of all my pieces. So right there I have 6 days. It probably could use a couple more. Now, I should say I also did the math for this based on 10 months. Because I figure if I fall behind, I have a cushion of 2 months there. The yellow you see highlighted, that's Wednesday, and then every now and then I don't like working on something for just one day. So I gave it 2 days on the 10th and the 11th. That would be 4 Seasons. The light blue is Pokémon. The tan under the blue is, which one was that? Oh, that's the Weaver's Tapestry. And then the purple is A Promise of Tomorrow. So that's kind of how I'm doing. Now, why did I give Strength Sundays? Well, I gave Strength Sundays because I work on that with football. And so we still have football in September. Now, we have the Super Bowl in February, but I don't know what my plans are, so I'm not even going to count that. So let me show you February. Now I've changed February up a little bit, and I've started working Sunday through Tuesday for 3 days on a project, and then Thursday through Friday on another project, and then Wednesdays I've just kept for 4 Seasons. So you can see I forgot to mention on Jan, but you can see, now look at the 4th, 5th, and 6th. there's no color there. That's because the 4th, 5th, and 6th I left open to stitch on anything I want. So every month I have a couple of days built in. Now February is leap year, and I thought with leap year, let's give that to a project that could use an extra day. So I gave that to Pokémon because it's a gift and I want to have time to finish it and frame it. And now, have I bit off more than I can chew? Maybe. This really locks me into just these projects. I will squeeze in, the band sampler, my long dog from time to time. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted by birds that are just dive bombing past my window, just hordes of them. Reminds me of the movie The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. As they start hitting my window, we're running. So I have these projects that I want to finish. I have the projects that I want to do the 24% in. So that locks me into just those. I have 15 projects this year. Will I be happy not being able to touch those other projects that don't come out very often? I don't know. If that's the case, then instead of being unhappy with myself because I've set too lofty of goals and I've kind of pigeonholed myself in too much into those, I'll back up and I'll take something out. A promise of tomorrow maybe. Or maybe I won't hit the full 24% on strength. I'd like to do that, but I'd like to do all these plans. That's why I have them as plans. So that's what I'm doing. I would love it if you have a project and you need some motivation. I would love it if you join me and pick a project or 2 or 3 and try to reach 24% or an additional 24%. One last thing, I did do some purchases and I'm going to put a picture in here. Elisa, I was watching her planning. What did she call it? She didn't call it a whip parade, but it was basically a whip parade. And she showed a project she wants to start that was called European Town or European City. No, Scandinavian Houses. I should know that. I looked it up. And I thought that was so colorful and so beautiful. She got it from My Bobbin. Then I went to My Bobbin. I ended up talking myself out of it, but I couldn't talk myself out of this. And this is called Eyes of the Forest. The artist is Ina. Sorry, I'll have to put it on the screen. I don't remember it right now. And I love it. Now that is smaller. That only has like 68,000 stitches. So that's one that, it's not a giant one. I'm trying to get away from the giant ones. I only have so many years left of stitching and I have enough giant pieces. So I bought that. I've ordered 2 charts from Bossy Threads that have to come in. And I purchased 3 pieces of fabric from my friend Kaylee at TheSewingShop.ca. So when I finish some of these, I figure when I finish 2, if I really feel that burnout, I can start one. So yeah, I wanted a couple pieces of fabric because I have a couple ideas here on a start. But that would be it. When those come in, I will show you. What are your plans for the year? Let me know what you're doing. I'd love to hear. And if you have other ways of reaching your goals, I'd love to hear those too. Maybe I'll incorporate those next time into my plans. With that said, have a wonderful New Year's Day. Don't have too much fun though. And I'll see you on the 15th. Bye.